Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of my series in which I am making occult apartments in this castle, which is the Haunted Castle shell by Jubiesims. It's an official shell challenge and it's on the Sims official Discord server, and I have already made one for a vampire family and one for werewolves, and this one is going to be for a ghost. This is the first time that I am building this with the new Life and Death expansion pack, so I wanted to do a couple of things like change the front door, change the doors that lead into every unit, and I really wanted to use this new rug here in the entryway underneath this table with some flowers. When I saw that rug, I knew that it was going to be perfect for this, so I didn't include a rug in there originally, and I also wanted to have the new chandelier in there and to add these new outdoor lights, which I think are so pretty. And this apartment, as I said, is going to be for a ghost. You could have up to 2 Sims in here. Actually, you could have 3, because I did have the casket in the basement. All of these apartments have basements, by the way, and the ones in the top floor are going to be one for witches and one for a reaper and an undertaker. I'm going to also have stuff for like the medium skill and that kind of thing, so I'm really trying to include all of the occults, or at least all of the ones that I have, because I don't have memories or aliens. But I really wanted to have all of these occult apartments in here. I'm having a lot of fun with this series. All of these basement apartments have secret doors that lead into them, so that was also something that I thought was fun. I really liked the idea of these neighbors all pretending to not be occults, and if anything weird happens, they all blame the ghost, because that's the only occult that is super obvious all the time. So I think that's a funny storyline. I would love to play in this apartment building like that. I'm going to have this uploaded to the gallery as both a normal residential and a residential rental, because I think that residential rentals are not something that you can download if you don't have for rent. And I think that it would also be fun to play with all of these Sims at the same time. But here in the bathroom, I am using this tile from Realm of Magic on the walls and vampires on the floor. I was really impressed by how well this fits with all of the new bathroom stuff, which is what I'm using in here so far, except for the toilet. This pack doesn't come with a toilet. And I had a lot of fun with this room. The decals are perfect with the color scheme, although I did notice that the sinks that come with this pack do not have slots. Also, the bathtub doesn't have a slot, as normally sinks and bathtubs have in this game. I wonder if they forgot about that. I hope that they fix that at some point. But I really love that bathroom, and I would have liked to make it a bit larger because of how fancy everything in there is. But yeah, I wasn't able to do that. One day I will make a larger bathroom with this set because it's so fancy and beautiful. But here in the kitchen, I wanted to use all of the new stuff, and actually I do get rid of this fridge. I am using the one from Cottage Living in the end. I don't show it, but it's on the screenshots, and I was showing this to my mom, and she said that it was weird that you could see into the fridge because the food would be spoiled, even if ghost Sims actually do it. I did include this like picture with fruit from the Artist Studio kit, and I picked the swatch that has the broken base and the fruit that looks like it's not in a great state. I think of it as being fake fruit, because at the art school that I go to, they do have like this fake fruit that looks like it's been in there for years and years and it's not in a great state, but that's what we use to do still lifes. So yeah, that's what I decided to include in there. I actually moved it over to the window because I decided not to have counters in front of it, and I only keep them in front of the shorter window, because I didn't like the idea of having the window blocked by the counters, and I added a little side table and some stuff over there, and that's where I actually do keep the picture and some stuff. I actually used the same table that I have in this living room at this moment, because I remembered that I really wanted to include this really cool fireplace, and that it had enough space here in the, I think it's called the mantle, for the TV. And I also really wanted to use a bunch of candlelight in this apartment. Actually, I think that the only thing here that requires electricity would be the television because I did switch out the fridge. I don't think this fridge is one of those that you can use off the grid. I forgot to mention it, but I am building this in the new world of Ravenwood. I was actually building it originally in Windenburg, and I was thinking that I was going to have this in the countryside, but the lot where I was thinking about adding it was next to a hill, and oddly the castle looked small next to the hill. I would have liked to have been able to put it on top of the hill, but yeah, it looks strangely small in this world. Even in this area that is a bit raised up next to the town portion, it looks strangely small. I don't know why. Maybe it's just that it's, I think, medium wall height. No idea. This gallery wall doesn't end up being exactly like this. It's also one of the things that I changed when I was taking screenshots. I had already stopped recording and I just remembered a couple of things that I wanted to change so that this apartment would make a little more sense. I also forgot to add, I wanted to add a bunch of books all over. I wanted it to be a bit messier. I did a bunch of those cracks and tears and holes in the floor and stuff because I did want this to be a bit messy and like you could see that nobody has actually lived in here for a very long time. I was thinking that this ghost has been here for maybe centuries, maybe as long as this castle has existed, or when they made it into apartments, which was probably a very long time ago. And yeah, I just really like that idea, so that's why I also included this very distressed rug and all of those tears and stuff. I tried to use the new curtains in this bedroom, but they didn't fit correctly. You could see them from the outside, and I also tried to add the ones from vampires, which worked really well in the vampires apartment. And then I remembered that these Realm of Magic curtains actually fit pretty much perfectly over these windows from the Castle Estate kit, and I didn't really like those curtains before. I still think that the swatches are weird, but I think that they are useful now. And I also wanted to include this broken mirror and some urns here on a shelf above the door. I was thinking that these are the urns that these ghosts were put in at some point. There's also a casket in the basement, which I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no idea. But I thought that it was cool and that it made sense since, life and death and everything. I also included a radiator, and this is when I am remembering that I wanted to have something in front of these windows. I really like that this side table is kind of see-through, so it felt correct in this space, and I also decided to have some firewood in here. It just felt realistic to me, and I also included this trunk that is new in this pack. I wanted to have some scales from Realm of Magic as well, and the dead lilies from the Artist Studio kit as well, and that's where I actually have the vase and the fruit from that kit. And then we're moving on into the basement, which is completely just lit by candles, and I'm using mostly the ones from this new pack. I also have the new desk, which looks so old, and it's really beautiful. It's just like a very solid large piece of furniture. And I added the big chair as well from there. I really like the new modern desk, and I am definitely going to use it in one of the other apartments. But I really wanted the ghost's apartment to look very antique. So I also included the typewriter computer, and they actually do add the new journal into this desk as well. I don't show that because I was spinning around a bit in here. But that's the casket that I was mentioning. I also included the bassinet because I was thinking that this would be sort of a storage space, and I actually used the large rug size down instead of the smaller rug, because if you size it down, it's still a little bit larger than the small rug, or the small version of that rug, so I'm actually finding that very useful. I also included the grandfather clock from vampires and a chess table just because I felt that it would be a good idea to have a few skill building items. I also wanted to have some tarot cards, and I included these trunks from werewolves because they look so distressed and old. And then I'm just adding a bunch of cobwebs, and then I'm remembering worrying about some cracks. I added some from Jungle Adventure, from werewolves, from vampires, and some of the ones from the new pack. I just had a lot of fun adding all of this stuff in here because I don't normally do that very much. So I felt that it gave it a lot of character, and to me it made sense that this apartment would be in such a bad state because, as I said, nobody has lived in here for a very long time. And you could, of course, vampires aren't alive either, but they seem to be able to take care of their spaces a bit better than a ghost. At least in my mind it's that way. Of course, many of them can't go out into the daylight, but still. And I just like the idea of this having been owned by the same ghosts for a long time. And yeah, I guess that they don't care anymore. But yeah, I added also these like moldy or weird stains for rent. And I also added some curtains in that area in the kitchen, the ones from Realm of Magic as well. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the next apartments in the series. I am super excited about them, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye everyone.